Okay, greetings family, and welcome to another Grenfell MediaWatch update. As you can probably tell, I'm in the hospital right now with my son. He's got sickle cell, and September being Sickle Cell Awareness Month, I thought perhaps it's a good place to actually do it. Not sure, but I'm on parent watch today. What am I going to call this episode? I know, holidays over. And I'm not talking about school holidays, I'm also talking about Parliament, because Parliament is back. And we have to be very careful to make sure that Parliament is focused on the topics that we want it focused on. Things like deaths in custody, but of course, Grenfell. Because right now, all we're going to be hearing about is Brexit, and even more Brexit. So we do need, not just the Tories, but we also need the Labour Party actually bringing topics that are of public interest to focus. Okay, so many of us are aware that there's a public inquiry taking place with Morbick in charge. But there's also an independent review with Judith Hackett at the helm. And she's looking at building regulations and fire safetiness of buildings in the aftermath of Grenfell. And one thing we do know is that the cost of retrofitting buildings, existing tower blocks, is going to be high. And you know, there's some concerns now that people are actually trying to pass the buck. They're pretending that they don't have the funds. And so we need the government to actually make sure that this money is available. And they do have the money. What else is going on as well? I also heard that there are companies out there selling like cheap fire safety equipment that's not really certified, that's not really at good standards based on people's fears of what's happening in Grenfell. They're trying to exploit the situation. So again, that's got to be looked into as well. We're not hearing much about that, but that's also another growing concern. There's also been a report that some of the artwork that's been put up around the area has actually been repainted. Now the council is saying that they haven't done this, but a mural has actually been removed, and we've got to keep an eye on that as well, because essentially we know there will be residents in the area that are looking to regentrify the area, and regentrification for them means actually taking down the message of condolences, taking down some of the artwork that's been erected around the area to really just make it sanitized again, really cladding part 2. There was recently a story of Danny Cotton, who's the leader of the London Fire Brigade, actually needing counselling, and I'm really sorry to hear that. But I really worry when I hear stories about heroes and victims which actually leave out survivors. So one of the last points I want to talk about is the recent Game for Grenfell event that took place, and this was a football match raising money for charity for the Grenfell families. It's all very nice and very good. I have reservations. I mean, it's all very well raising more money, and there's enough money that's been raised. But right now, with MPs back at Parliament, we need artists to get involved in political issues, and I mean to actually use their voice to actually push for calls for justice. I'm thinking about the recent play by Akpori, and he addressed issues of deaths in custody. And deaths in custody, we think about how topical that is. We've got Shane Bryant, Darren Cumberbatch, Rashawn Charles, Edson DeCosta, even Sean Rigg. Now, I went to see a play recently called Bite Your Tongue by some young artists in Tallowell. I hope to see those people on the big screen because they were superb. And they documented very creatively the Tower movement. I think that's what it was called. And again, this had very sharp resonance with what's happening with Grenfell. And that's what we kind of need to see.
So why the silence?
So I'm going to close this video now. As I said, holiday's over, it's time to get back to work. We need to hold politicians to account. We need to keep them focused on the issues of justice, not just Brexit. There's lots of issues to be dealt with, especially with Grenfell, and also other issues that are surrounding things of abuse of state power. Anyway, let me say, may the ancestors continue to guide and protect us. Ashe.
Revolutionary Pan-Africanism working.
Yeah, so you want to be in the background. I don't know if I can do it. You're making me laugh.